family support, social support. Positive social support, that's the best way to put it. Because some individuals are like, oh yeah, I have social support, and there are other individuals who also take meth, and it's like, that's not a good thing. And I have some individuals who are like, oh yeah, we all drink together, that's our social support. I said, if you're trying to get off alcohol, that's probably not the best support system. But within this individual came to my office and we were talking for a while, and they were talking and reflecting on the fact that, one, yes, I have a struggle with meth. I said, okay, you're being honest about that, good. And they were like, really? I said, yeah, you're being honest with it. Affirmation, you're affirming the fact that, one, this is happening. And I said, how long have you been off meth? 3 months. I said, that's amazing. And they're looking at me like, really? Yeah. Another form of affirmation again, because one, I'm saying, you are now staying off meth for 3 months. That's a positive thing. I like the fact that you're staying off. You're being healthier for yourself. In addition to that, you're allowing your body to heal. And they're looking at me like, oh. I never heard another counselor say that to me. They usually say, you're only off of it 3 months, that's it? I said, well, 3 months is still pretty big. That's a pretty big step. If you're dealing with depression and you're dealing with manic depressive disorders, or you're dealing with any type of depressive disorder, and say, for example, one night out of a given week, you finally were able to sleep, that's a big thing. That's huge, right? You're like, oh my goodness, I finally slept last night. I at least have some energy, and I know what to look forward to, and I'll continuously try to strive for that. That's all you're trying to strive for. You're trying to allow the individual to strive for those better days. So does that answer your question? Because I went on this whole other tangent. So abnormally low. So you have acetylcholine, which controls muscle contractions and is present in memory formation. Within that, the death of acetylcholine producing cells in the brain leads to Alzheimer's. So one of the things we've noticed now is within neuroplasticity, even with elders, that's one of the big things we're seeing now, is can we change that? Is there some way we can change that? One of the big things I always try to encourage a lot of elders is to do different tools, keep their mind consistently active. Because again, you're trying to rewire all these different things so that you're able to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. As we're moving along, I want you to be able to continuously keep using your brain. And so when I go over to Chile, the nursing home, I usually sit with the elders there, just randomly. And when I go there, I usually go there for my coffee. So when I'm there, I usually sit with the elders. And as I'm sitting there with the elders, I noticed one thing that was happening as they all sat around. In essence, they're almost, I don't want to say forced, but they're encouraged to have social support. All of them. Why? So the social support allows you as an individual to say, okay, we're not in this alone. Because one of the big things is as you're going along, sometimes we go through different highs and lows, and as we're going through different highs and lows, sometimes we feel, wow, I feel like I'm going through this alone. How many of you ever felt like that? Say, for example, for a birth of a child or all these different things, we're like, am I really going through this alone? Then you realize, no, there's other people that have gone through it too, and they survived. And you're like, huh, it's interesting. And you see those affirmations. Again, that's what you're looking at, is the affirmations. You're saying, okay, that person did it. That means I can survive too. That's primarily what you're looking at. You're saying, okay, when you're working with an individual, you want to try to make sure that you're building that hope. Yes?
Is it good to, like, when within that social support, to compare yourself to other people like that? Because, like, someone might say, like, oh yeah, I've gone through what you've gone through, but I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and then that you might not have the same resources or opportunities to have what they went through.
And that's one of the things, is always asking questions. Asking, what factors did you do and did you seek out that helped you? Because one of the big things is, when you look at your own life and you start comparing, that's the other fear too. Because then you're looking at it like, you know what, I don't have that. I guess I don't really have anybody. But then you're also looking at the other outlook of saying, okay, what did they use that helped them? What can I gather from this positive? So if you utilize positive psychology, have you ever heard of positive psychology? So positive psychology, you're looking not so much at all of this, the abnormal behaviors, you're not so much looking at the abnormality and everything else, you're not looking at the bad stuff. You're looking at what positive strengths that person has. When I work with kids, that's what I'm looking at. A lot of them are like, you know what, I'm shy. I said, no. I said, you're very expressive. Really? In your artwork. And when I talk to older individuals, they're like, oh my goodness, you know what, I'm such a bad person in terms of the choices I make. I said, well, what did you get from that? From the choices that you were making, all this and that, well, what did you get out of that? And you're like, oh, I don't know. I guess I got benefits of this, this, and this. I said, okay. Because one of the big things as you're going along, you're trying to pull the positives as you're going forward. Because if you focus on the negatives, what's going to happen? So I want to try a simple exercise. So everybody get a blank piece of paper. Just a blank piece of paper. You have a piece of paper. A blank piece. And I've tried this with so if you have a blank piece of paper, if you need a blank piece of paper, let me know. Who needs a blank piece of paper? Anybody need a blank piece of paper? Okay, so if you have a blank piece of paper, all I want you to do is this, and it's a simple tool, it's a simple exercise I want you to do. And, alrighty, so make sure it's blank. It doesn't have to be perfect, it has to be blank. Everybody can see it. Camera. Go to camera. Camera's on. So, alright. I want you to put a dot on it. A dot in the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect, just a dot. So within this dot, I want you to flip it over. So on the back page, I want you to write everything you see on this other side. Everything that you see. And I want you to look at your life and think, okay. On the other side, I want you to just write down everything that you saw with the dot. Everything that you see on the dot. Your life, how you view it, everything else. Does it compare to your life? What things do you see? And I tried this with little kids. It's amazing. It's awesome. Because they try it and they're like, oh my goodness, and I don't want to tell you what they see, but I'll tell you eventually. So yeah, I'll give you about 2 minutes. I just want you to write what you see.
Not what you think.
It can be what you think, can be what you imagine, can be something that you feel, it can be an emotional response. You can look at it and be like, just want you to give you some time. Just write down what you think you see, what you feel, what you imagine.
Anything?
Anything. For some it's harder than others. They're looking at it like, it's okay, it's fine. It's okay. When I try this with 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, they'll have like half a page with crayons. They're like, they're writing, and I can't even read their handwriting, but they can. It's interesting. Everybody has something. Kind of. Maybe. No. Okay, that's fine. I'll give you some more time. No rush. All right. Ready? Okay. As ready as you'll ever be, I guess. How many Everybody focus in on this dot right here. Raise of hands.
A little bit.
A little bit. How many just looked at it and thought, oh my goodness, that's my life. That's all the mistakes I made. That's every single decision that I've made in my life. And those are all the failures that people see. And those are all the things that people have experienced. Oh my goodness, that dot is staring me right in the face.
That's too deep.
That's deep, right? I know. I've actually had individuals that literally did that. They went deep into this dot. And they focused on all the different failures, all the different things, the decisions, everything they've made. Within that, they've looked only just at that. When I work with the kids, I tell them, I say, what do you see? Oh my goodness, I see my house right here. I see me playing outside. I see me running all the way around the corral. I see all this. And I'm like, you see all that and that? Yeah. I see my mom right there. I see my dad over here. I see this over here. I see this. And I'm like, really? But when we get older, what do we only focus in on?
Like the past.
The past, right?
Yeah.
We only focus in on that. Scary.
And like the kids, it sounds like they're living in the present more than anything.
Exactly. They're living in the present, but what do we like to live in?
Either in the past or the future.
Yeah. We either live in the past or the future. We're thinking, what if I mess up and suddenly this happens in my future? What if did I make the right career decision? Am I going to school for the right reasons? Am I literally in the right class? Is my professor of a sane mind? We don't know. So now, after you have seen everything, and after I told you everything, I want you now to look at that whole thing. What did they focus on? The whole page. They were looking at the whole page. So now that you know that, I want you then to flip it back over again, and I want you to write everything, almost like a blank slate, and to see everything, every single positive thing you can see in your own life right now. All the positives. That's all I want. All the positives.
I don't know, I don't think it would change.
It wouldn't change.
I don't really remember.
Okay. So what positive do you see in your life right now? Do you feel like you've changed all the way to now? That's a positive. Your temperament has changed, your demeanor has changed, your outlook on life has changed, you have more meaning in life. You're now seeing everything in terms of.
How do you put significant, unique, safety zone,
Yeah.
AO, area of operation,
Yeah.
and target?
Yeah. But notice how you only focus in on where? The dot. I want you to look at everything now. All the different things, the uniquenesses that make you, that make your family, the positive of your kids, all the different things that extend. Just notice how that plays out.
It seems like it's kind of hard because there's that always, well, for my upbringing, it's always like, you know, you're not supposed to always like brag about stuff and everything, and there's that mindset of where like, oh yeah, I shouldn't really be thinking highly about myself because there's always somebody else that might be, you know, less
Yeah.
disadvantaged.
You can read it. I know it's a cheap stretch. So before you can help somebody, you must be willing to help yourself first. And there's a reason for that. How many have ever flown on any flight? I love flying. I love the turbulence. It's like, I love this. It's like a roller coaster ride. And when you're landing, it's like, it's all these different things. But before you take off, what do?
Reassure you.
They reassure you, right? You're not going to crash. They don't tell you that, do they? No. They tell you this is going to be a safe flight. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be all these different things. You're going to fly over the ocean. You're going to see all the different birds down there. You're going to see different cities. If it's late at night, you're like, oh, you just look out the window. You can see all this. But then a flight attendant comes out. They say, okay, if there is an emergency, exits are where? Right there, back here, that way. In case of drop in cabin pressure, your oxygen packs will drop. And you're like, okay. My first thought reaction is, if I have kids, I'm going to make sure I put the mask on them first. That's what we're thinking, right? What do they tell you?
So, put it on yourself first, and then
Put it on yourself first. There's a reason for that. Why?
Because you won't be much help afterwards.
You won't be much help. So you're looking at your life and you're saying, and as Danette, what are we told? We're told to be proud of who? Ourselves. But then on the other message, we're told, no, don't be proud of yourself. And you're like, huh? So confused. I don't know which one to do. Should I be proud of it? No, one of the things you're looking at, I'm not talking about being proud of yourself. I'm talking about being confident in yourself. Because proud of yourself, you're like, oh, you know what? Even if I can't handle it, I'm still going to try it anyway. If I fail at it, ugh. But being confident means, one, knowing what you can handle, having the expertise behind you to help somebody. Because one of the things as you're going along, we're learning to be confident in every aspect of our reality. Last night I was talking about that. I was telling them that I want you to be the smartest person in the room. My evening class was like, wait, what?
depends what subject.
Yeah. Because you're all studying psychology, I want you to use your mind and always be the smartest person in the room. Doesn't matter where. Doesn't matter what you're doing. And I'll give you an acronym. And this is how I handle all situations. Attitude. The acronym stands for everything can be handled with a kiss. And when I was working with social workers and I was doing this presentation over in Albuquerque, I was telling them that. I said, everything can be handled with a kiss. And again, these were all social workers that were all out there away from their families. They're like, oh, really? And they were nudging. I'm like, no. That's not what I'm trying to teach you guys. I'm trying to teach you this acronym. So everything can be handled with a kiss. So the very first one is A. Attitude. When you're walking into any situation, how many feel like, hey, you know what, I'm going to walk into a situation and I'm going to fail at it?
Well, that also depends on if you have any idea what it is you're going to go through.
Ah. Thank you. Knowledge. Your attitude is based upon the knowledge that you acquire. That's the reason why I encourage every student to always continuously keep learning, no matter what skill it is, no matter what outlook it is. Continuously keep building on that repertoire of information. Because as you're going forward, one of the big things is, if you're going to the clinical field, counseling field, all of that, you're going to come across different avenues, different outlooks that are different from who? Yourself. Last night we were looking at birth. We were looking at placenta. And we were looking at the outlook that some cultures, guess what? They eat their placenta. And you're like, what? I saw all their faces. Their faces were like, ah. The men, it was like, oh. They had this look of like, ah. It's weird. Gross. But for other cultures, they're like, that's normal. It rejuvenates me. Makes my skin bounce back. All these different things. And that's one of the things as you're going along, you're learning to say, okay, in this given situation, how can I be more knowledgeable? One, continuously keep learning. And then, so interpersonal skills. You guys haven't taken my, okay. So interpersonal skills, what is interpersonal skills? Can I use you as an example?
Attitude.
Can I use you as an example? Is that okay? Okay. Would you be able to come up to the front? It's fine, if you don't, it's fine, it's an option. So, I'm gonna step forward, but I'm gonna come into your personal space. Is that okay? Is that fine? Okay. So I'm gonna move forward. So again, I'm gonna get very close, but I'm gonna talk to you. So as I'm this close, right, what happened? What'd you have to do? Yeah, put your hand out and take a step back, like, whoa! This is very different.
I know my ex-line of work, like,
Exactly.
they will get in your face.
Yeah.
That's different.
And that's one of the things is, it's almost like it's confrontational, right, when they get in your face. It's very confrontational. So it's one of the things is interpersonally, we're looking at this, oh my goodness, they just entered my space and I don't know how to react to this and I have my boundaries. Stop. Interpersonal skills. That's what you're reading immediately. When you're working with individuals, that's what you're primarily looking at. You're looking at, okay, what things can I see? Interpersonal. What things am I also projecting? And one of the things I always look at is EC, which is effective communication. And eventually we'll go into that within this class. I try to make sure I covered it in all the different psych classes that I teach, which we're looking at attitude. Because one, I want you to be able to build your confidence level in all situations. Even in this class, I want you to be able to what? Ask questions. All times. I'm not going to be like, no, shh, get it. Why? I want you to know this stuff. That's it. Plain and simple. I'm not going to be like, no, we're going to move forward. Your outlook does not matter to me, and I'm going to press forward. And that's what me and a colleague were talking about this morning. You go to different universities, you go to higher ed universities, and primarily you have, what, 60, 70, 80 kids all in that classroom. And the only perspective that matters is who? The teacher, the professor, right? Here, I'm looking at the outlook of, no, your perspective really does matter. Why? You're going to be out there in the field teaching, educating, helping. I want you to have that bravado, that gusto, everything else, be able to go out there and be able to say, yeah, I have my own personal outlook. I can back it up with research and everything else. So I'm able to share it with somebody. That's primarily what I'm looking at. That's all I'm looking at. And then the last one. Sincerity. How many have ever been in a situation where somebody told you, I love you, and you just knew it wasn't there? And they're like, I love you, and you're like, who are they? First response.
Like,
Doesn't matter.
I mean,
Say for example, somebody comes up to you and says, you know what, I care for you. Yes, I care for you. And you're like, your actions don't match.
Or you know that they don't know you well enough.
Mm-hmm. And the example I give is, I was working with inmates, and I used to do a lot of pro bono work. And I did that for about 5 years, every day, or not every day, but every Tuesday I would go in, work with local inmates, and we used to do a lot of psychoeducation. And within that, it was pro bono. So initially, there was no pay to it. So I was working with inmates, everything else, offering that psychoeducation, and it continued. But I had one individual that stood out. He just kept looking at me, with a smirk on his face. And I said, what's going on? I don't believe it. I don't believe it one bit. I said, what do you mean? I don't believe you're really sincere about it. I said, why? You got to be getting paid somewhere. I said, but I'm not. Nah. You're a young guy, and you're not getting paid. There's something not right. Why would you do that? Why would anybody do anything? I said, because I care for you guys. I don't know you guys, but I care for you guys. You know, like. This went on for about 2, 3, 4 weeks. Finally, at the end, we were done. I was done with my sessions and everything else. At the end, he's like, you really do come in every Tuesday. You don't get paid. And you really do it because you actually care for us. I said, yeah, I do. Why? Because I want you to improve your lives. so that 10 years, 5 years down the road, you can't come back and say, hey, nobody helped me. They're like, that's not fair. I said, nah, that's pretty fair. Because one of the big things you're learning is sincerity across all walks. Doesn't matter where you're going to go. I was talking to my 240 class last night, and we were talking about the outlook. I said, one of the big things is sometimes you're working with individuals who are in deep poverty. Are you ready for that? And some of them are like, I don't know. I said, it's okay. It's okay to be honest. You have time to become better acclimated. It's okay. I said, because some of these families, when you're helping them and you're telling them about all these different perspectives, a lot of times they're going to look at you and say, wait a minute, no, that doesn't mesh. It absolutely does not mesh with my outlook in life. When I was working with inmates, guess what? They would throw out the outlook of, I've never seen anything better. I said, really? I said, I believe you can do better. I believe you can get a job. Guess what? A majority of them got jobs. They're looking at it thinking, I actually got a job. I'm like, yay! I'm excitable at all times. Because then I'm looking at it like, oh, this is happening. Because one, I'm trying to build up their what? Their dopamine. All these different